Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, my name is Rich Santo, and I live in Chicago, where our headquarters is located here, and we make music merchandise. The company is called Culture Studio, founded in Chicago, but most recently expanded to our second factory in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Awesome. So how did you get the idea for this business?
Yeah, it's crazy to say, but 15 years in the making now. We basically came up with the idea for Culture Studio completely out of utility for a brand that we used to run called Shy, which is CHII, was our streetwear brand that we had all the way back to 2005 till about 2009. And we really found that it was really hard to manufacture products in the United States the way that we wanted to make them. And so purely out of the need, we decided to make our own studio to make our own products.
Awesome. So does your studio make products for other brands or really just only your own products in the studio?
In 2008, it was started with only our products. We were basically our own manufacturer as Culture Studio. But as we matured as just young people, and 2008 was a very unique time to be in the high-end streetwear industry as well. And so, once again, purely out of force and need, we decided that we already had the studio, we had the capacity and the machinery, that we would also start to manufacture products for others. And that's where my brothers joined the business. Best friend Carlo, growing up, joined the business. And we found out really quickly that we're actually much better at the manufacturing side than we were at the retail. And ever since, we've been pursuing that.
But do you pursue both today or right now it's really purely manufacturing?
Yeah, we're 100% manufacturing and technology. We build a platform that basically powers all of our factories, runs sophisticated algorithms for capacity planning, and basically is our, just most important, unique to us. It's that one single differentiator that we have that nobody else can duplicate. And we don't do anything on the retail side. We don't sell anything directly to the consumer. And sometimes when you look purely at margin, it doesn't look great, but we like our positioning. We love being in the client services business. We love, repeat business and LTV and, working with the same clients over and over again. And, ultimately creating value for the artist that, a big piece of their revenue comes from selling merchandise today. And, we basically purely exist to equip them to be able to sell merch.
So can you just give me an example, maybe without mentioning a customer name, like how, one of your customers before that they were using somebody else and how you were able to bring value when they were using your business?
Yeah, we have a mission that has not really changed. You'd think that we would be more creative as, like a graphics and creative company. You would think that we would constantly be changing the mission and making it more catchy. But it really has been this pursuit of a 2-day ground ship anywhere in the US. And we said, you know what, if we can build multiple facilities, and if we can realize a 2-day ground ship, then we will create incredible value for the artists. So as they travel throughout the country, throughout North America, and for example, Olivia Rodrigo is going to perform in Madison Square Garden on a Friday, and she's going to move to the United Center on Saturday. Can we produce products fast enough to get them to the tour? Can we respond to, what is selling well that quickly and that fast? And can we apply technology to that universe that is very classic? And so Yeah, I think that's the difference that we've brought to the industry, and the game changer, if you will. Because most other things can be pretty much table stakes. Like if you can't make a quality product, then you're definitely not playing at the highest level. And if you don't have great customer service, then you're not working with the same brands over and over again. So, that's like the grand mission. And we're about 2/3 of the way there with Chicago and Daytona Beach. We truly cover the whole middle of America to the East Coast, down south into Canada. And I believe our last and final takeover for the US will be on the West Coast, most likely in California or nearby.
Awesome. So in terms of right now, right, like how do you go about acquiring new clients? Is it mostly just word of mouth through being like in the industry for a while, or do you do like cold outbound? Like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, we are 100% a relations based company. We've never run a Facebook ad or an Instagram. It is a B2B sale, so they are slow sales to grow. The majority of our relationships that we've had go on over a decade, and have extreme lifetime value to them. And so we don't actually add a ton of clients. I think actually, if we just did our like annual report, even though we're not a public company, we make an annual report internally. And we only serviced about 300 customers in the year 2023. And so at this type of volume, tens and millions of products, it's a very small amount of customers to service, which allows us to build a 6-star experience with them.
For sure. But like, are your customers, you could say like the agencies that are working with these people, and then so once they sign on new people, then they're going to use
Yes,
you. So essentially, you're kind of growing like, wider within your current customers. They're signing on more people, and then you're able
exactly.
to help out
Yep.
their new clients, you could say.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. So what would you say is like the biggest challenge that you face in the business today?
Man, there's so many of them. Everybody thinks that a t-shirt just comes from China, and it just shows up and there it is in a box sitting on your doorstep. And Jeff Bezos delivered it in 48 hours. And that's just like the given, as it is today. But there is real American manufacturing that is going on, and especially in the music merchandise space. And these are big factories. Chicago is going to go up to 100,000 square feet at the beginning of Q1 or Q2 this year. It's 50,000 square feet, and Daytona Beach is 80,000 square feet. So when we do the upgrade to Chicago, it'll be 200,000 square feet of production floor. I mean, that's a force to be reckoned with in any country, better yet, the United States. And so it's a lot of labor, it's a lot of training, it's building systems, it's building technology. But if I had to you asked me what is the most complicated part, is the seasonality to the business. Although we've done a good job with building counter-cyclical sales and trying to be a part of Q4 and Q1, we're sitting today dead in the middle of, Q1, which actually I can report 2024, we've doubled revenue compared to 2023, which is an insane thing to do in Q1. But we're still, call it 1/4 of our total volume that we will be in peak season. And so, it's classic to just say, make more, make more, make more. But it's very hard to do that scale up and then scale down. It's a roller coaster ride. And so, we try to ingrain ourselves into our clients, build really strong bonded partnerships that continue the entire year rather than just saying, okay, here you go, make millions of products for 3 months and then make next to none, then make millions again and then make next to none. So I would say that is the ultimate challenge in this business.
For sure. So, I mean, you mentioned also, right, that you have a software. So in terms of the software, can you just talk more about that? Is it like a SaaS product or only for internal use? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's currently only for our use. It's like an ERP system. It's a complete shop management tool. It does everything from client inception to building out the order to wild pricing calculations, pulling API and vendor information, inventory information, and then manufacturing the product internally in our factories, which is like really its strong suit. Is we enter an order and it says, okay, produce this on press 14, second shift, Daytona Beach, March 9th. And that is like completely next level. Sometimes so next level that even it's hard to articulate it well to clients. That, when we say here's when we believe that we can produce this product, and then we don't get the garments in time, or the artwork's not approved, or something like that. It's like, well, you had it scheduled. Well, yeah, sure, the tech can only do its part, but all the other physical assets have to come into play. But yeah.
Awesome. So is there AI involved in this software, or is that, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys use AI in the business, or I guess like, what does that look like?
Yeah, Oscar, our CTO, is of course, a fellow nerd like myself, and we're always, trying stuff. We're always too early. Our industry is still in the horse and buggy phase, in many shapes and sizes and ways. And so we do try to hold ourselves back a little bit, but one application that we have found work well is, and Oscar named it CS GTP, which is basically a model that is reading our operating manual and then can spit back out, here's how our SOP is written, or here's how things are done. But we will be introducing, I believe, an AI on the capacity planning side, and potentially on, the garment side. The client's end of the platform houses a massive catalog. And so introducing some AI for searchability and suggestions and so forth would be really cool.
That's awesome. So like obviously now we're in Q1 of 2024. So for this year to be successful for you, like what would that look like? Like I guess like what are some of your biggest objectives for this year?
Well, I mean, we're a growth orientated company. Sometimes, I would say at our own well-being's mercy, don't have a no in our vocabulary, whatsoever. We're a yes group. And so another growth year, we've doubled in revenue the last 2 years. We're not shooting that far for the sky, but we will aggressively pursue building, the organization in its entirety. And there's everything else that goes into the culmination of that happening. One thing that we didn't necessarily realize prior to opening the facility down in Florida was actually how hot it was when we brought in the dryers and the flash units and so forth. And so if we're saying we're going to have this pursuit of aggressive revenue growth, well, then we also have to be highly focused on our teams, not only hiring top talent, but giving them a great place to work. And so one of the big, challenges that we've had is actually engineering a air conditioning unit system that is going to be installed down there in 80,000 square feet. And it's the size of a Costco, right? And not only is it the size of a Costco, but we have flash units that are hundreds of degrees, flashing at hundreds. We have dryers that are running at 320 or 360 degrees. So we're putting off constant heat, different than a Costco. Costco is actually quite cold, has the freezer systems and the refrigerator systems, right? We're the opposite. So we are pursuing growth, but we're also doing everything that we can within financial reason to be the employer of choice and to be a
That's
place where
awesome.
people love to work.
What would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
I think a great piece of advice, when considering expansion, which is the last 2 years of our life, has been consumed, at least myself personally, with opening the Florida factory. And I think that we went into the opening of the factory building the location around an individual. And I think we were actually naive to think that we couldn't do it. We kind of felt like, we come from a very small studio. The initial one that we had was 900 square feet, and then we moved to 9,000 and 50,000, and now we'll go to 100, and then we moved and built the second factory. But we had never run another one remotely, and I don't know that we trusted our systems and our process and our tech at that point in time. And so we decided to build the factory around someone from the outside, and that didn't work out. Actually, he only lasted about 2 months the music industry broke him in less than 60 days. And so, I think, ultimately the best advice that I can give a business that is looking to expand is to trust in their own systems and to trust in their team. And if you're going to expand to another location, then you have to bring somebody from within. You have to bring somebody, and we say, obviously, we chose the name, but we have to bring somebody from the culture, and we have to bring us down there. And I think a company that doesn't have a defined intentional culture gets one by default, right? It's manila or vanilla or whatever you want to say, right? That becomes your culture, or what people say about you becomes your culture.
Right.
But from our perspective, we're highly intentional about the team members that we bring on, and everything down to the little most tiny detail. And if you then try to do that somewhere else, but you build it around someone else, it's not you. It's not authentic. And so I am delighted to report back that we were able to bring some team members down from Chicago, relocated them down there. I spent 3 months. The last 3 months down there was a snowbird, took my whole family down there.
That's awesome.
Worked out of the Daytona facility, and it feels more and more like us, like the brand every single day. So ultimately, that would be my best advice.
That's great. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for the business?
I think we are highly focused on our little niche, and we want to continue to build value there. I would love to say that we're getting closer to, realizing that 2-day ground ship. But in all aspects, we love running a bootstrapped company that has complete autonomy and is allowed to do what it wants, and is allowed to do things that maybe wouldn't conventionally make sense for their team members or for the people. And we have this, like I said, like systems and processes and tech in place, but we also have an operating manual that says, if there's a better way, we would love to hear it. And there's zero corporate bureaucracy in our organization. And I think all those things just continue to keep flowing, and we continue to kind of create our own destiny. And hopefully we can impact not only our industry, but other entrepreneurs and young people within our organization, as myself and Carlo and the brothers actually are now like the old uncles around here, where we were always the youngest in the organization and in the industry, and have now moved on a little bit. And now we have these young, amazing, incredible minds that are now a lot smarter than us in many ways. And if we can just breed them and groom them along the way, they're going to do great things.
That's great. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or social media, I guess, best ways to get in contact?
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm highly accessible, actually seeking most people out. So I'm usually the one on the other end, saying, hey, I could send you a free, decoration guide or a free coffee book. So we love business, and we love playing the great game of business, and we love the industry. We love merch. We love making products that people love. So you can get a hold of me on LinkedIn, or my email is really simple: rich@culturestudio.net. So I'm very active, quick to respond on both of those.
So, well, Rich, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Thanks. All right, bye.
Appreciate it.